Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I'm doing my wrap-up for the readathon that I just took part in. So that was round 6, I think, of the Contemporaryathon. And that is hosted by the lovely Chelsea, Julie and Natasha, who I love watching. They have great channels, so check them out if you haven't checked them out yet. Probably have. They're really popular, but they run this Contemporaryathon, and it's all based around reading contemporary literature. Now, I think in the past, and the dates were, I think it was the 10th to the 16th it ran, so this kind of past week. And the contemporary books I really like. So I think I've talked about in the past how I find historical fiction quite difficult in the sense that I don't always like it. And I probably prefer a contemporary setting anyway. So this is a good readathon for me. I like it, and I like to try and take part every year. At the moment, my life is quite hectic, so I'm probably not reading as many books as I did last year, but that's okay. It's quality, not quantity, that counts. And for the readathon, I actually managed to read 3 books. So I'm going to pull up, I've got them in front of me. I've got a laptop here. So I've got the challenges here. I'll tell you what I read, what challenge it met, and what I thought of the books. So the first one, this lovely book here, The Serpent King by Jeff Zettner. This is a reread for me. I adored this book when I read it the first time. So it is about a group of friends. So you've got 3 friends, Travis, Lydia and Dill. And they live in kind of small town America, quite conservative, quite religious. And Dill's father so they all have their demons and they all have their issues, and it's about their friendship and about how they help each other through. I love that aspect of the friendship. So Dill's father used to be the preacher in the town, and he's now in jail, and you find out why. A lot of people blame Dill for it. His mother is an absolute nightmare. She blames him. She basically, I don't like her. She's horrible. Then you've got Travis, who he works with his father at the lumber yard. His mother has passed away, and again, his father treats him very badly. He's also kind of considered a little bit weird in the town by the rest of the kids in the high school. So they're in their last year of high school, they're preparing to leave. But these 3 are considered kind of the outcasts because obviously Dill and his preacher father and the fact that he's in jail. Then you have Travis, who loves to dress in all black, wears a dragon pendant, and is obsessed with a series of books that is kind of like, I'd say like Lord of the Rings-y fantasy books. And then you have Lydia, who has now Lydia's family I love. She has wonderful, wonderful parents, but everybody kind of hates her at school because she has an online blog and it's called Dollywood, which I quite like. And she talks about fashion. And she actually is preparing to get out of this town and go to college in New York. But everybody here hates her. She has millions of followers online. They love her. She's been to like Fashion Week, but in the town she's seen as weird, as an outcast. And it's about their friendship. This is very hard-hitting. So this was for the challenges, read a contemporary with green on the cover, so you can see that's very kind of green in the background. And then also this would also count for dark and hard-hitting contemporary, because this made me cry. Sort of warnings for abuse in here, and it is just beautiful. It made me angry, which I think is good. A lot of the kind of the religious references. You've also got, so the queer element in this is Lydia's bisexual. And yeah, this is a beautiful friendship, but it also is very hard-hitting, and it did make me cry, and it's very sad, but I love it. I gave it 5 stars the first time I read it. I'm giving it 5 stars again. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Highly recommend it. Not necessarily cheerful, not going to leave you in a cheerful mood, but it's fantastic. Then the next one I read, and this one snuck in because it wasn't on my TBR, this one is Dietland by Soraya Walker. Oh my gosh, I love this book. So I am wearing my Girls Empower Girls sweatshirt today because it suits the theme of my, particularly my last 2 books that I'm talking about. So this one, Dietland, this has actually been turned into a TV series. So some of you might have seen the TV series. And like I said, this was not on my original TBR. I don't know where this kind of fits in. And illustrated, we'll use this for illustrated cover. This is an illustrated cover. And it is about a woman who, so this has fat rep in it. So this is a woman who she is overweight. She's very ashamed of that. She hides in baggy clothes. She has this job where she's been hired by like a teen magazine to write an advice column on behalf of like the editor of this teen magazine, but the girls that are writing think that it's the editor replying, but it's actually her replying to all the letters, the kind of Dear Jane letters that are coming in. And basically she spends her days in a cafe, hiding away from everybody, never going out, and she feels like someone's watching her. And it turns out she's right. And I don't want to say anything more about it because I don't want to give the story away. It is magnificent. So at the back it says, join the revolt. It's funny. It is, again, women empowering women. It is such fabulous commentary on misogyny, on how women are viewed in society. This is a completely feminist book. Like I said, it's got that commentary around, body image and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable and what we do to ourselves and how we feel ashamed of ourselves if we don't fit into a certain mold. It is wonderful. And it says on the back, Fight Club meets Margaret Atwood, which is such a great description of it. Highly, highly recommend it. I got it at this wonderful bookshop called the Feminist Bookshop here in Brighton, which if you're anywhere near Brighton, please go check it out. It's amazing. I'm doing a writing course there in a couple of weeks. And yeah, just if you're interested in kind of kick-ass feminist prose that at the end will make you go, yeah, this is it. It's amazing. And then the last book I read was one that was totally on my anticipated, that I kept meaning to read, and I finally got around to it, and it's this book over here, Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. So this book was, it fit quite a few of the challenges, so it was a new to me author. Actually, so was Sarai Walker, so that would have fit there as well. It's a diverse contemporary, keeping in mind it's Black History Month. You've got a lot of mixed race characters, Puerto Rican main character in this. Read a backlisted contemporary, something that's been on my TBR for over a year. This is it. It's also got an illustrated cover and a contemporary that's beloved by a member of the community. Loads of people love this book, pretty much everybody. I think The Serpent King is also one that's actually quite beloved, so that's another one. So this book over here, if you don't know, Juliet Takes a Breath, is about our main character, Juliet, who has read this book, and she's read this book by a kind of a feminist author. So she lives in the Bronx in New York. I think she's got a really great family, but she's also hiding the fact that she has a girlfriend, and she's read this book by this author. I think it's called Pussy Power, something like that. Raging Flower, Empowering Your Pussy by Empowering Your Mind. It's a great title. I wish that was a real book. And she wants to go, she wrote a letter. So at the beginning of the book, you get this letter she writes to the author, and basically saying to the author how this book has changed her life and changed her perception. And the author writes back and says, come spend some time with me over the summer as like an internship as my assistant. So she's getting ready to leave to go to Portland, Oregon. And on the night, on her sort of farewell dinner, she tells her mother that she has a girlfriend and that she's queer. Her mother doesn't take it that well. Basically, her aunt says, oh, it's just a phase. And yeah, it doesn't go so well. The relationship between her and her younger brother is adorable, by the way. He really supports her. He's really sweet. Her aunt and her cousin, they're a lot more supportive. I love her aunt in this. And her father, her father's quite sweet, but her mother takes a while to come around to that idea that her daughter might be queer. But anyway, she goes off and she meets this author. And while she's there in Portland, she discovers all sorts of truths and interesting things. And I love the journey that this character goes through. I love how she's learning about her own culture, about history, about women in her culture, about, feminism along the way, about, women standing up for themselves, about her standing up for herself, her rights, this relationship that she has with this girl and what happens there, and just really discovering herself. It's a beautiful coming of age story. Again, women empowering women. It is just gorgeous. It's a 5-star read. all of these books, this is amazing. Every single one of these books for this readathon, 5-star read. It is incredible. Again, if you're interested in any of those topics, please, please, please read this book. It's so beautiful. I cannot recommend it enough. Just a treasure and a joy. You can see I've tabbed quite a bit of it, and you'll learn something because there's real references to real people in here, which is amazing. But also it's a really heartfelt, beautiful coming of age story with wonderful main character, great diversity in it. Highly, highly recommend. And that's it. Those are all my books for the Contemporaryathon. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought of it, or what you read, and what you liked and didn't like. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye.